Boom.
All right, another day, another episode of the MMA Lockdown podcast. What's happening, Don?
Yeah, nothing much, Jazz. Just coming to terms with the changing daily news.
Yeah, exactly. Well, here in South Africa, we got the news last night from Cyril that we're getting a 2-week extension. So yeah, there's mixed feelings on that, but it's a tough situation that he finds himself in.
Yeah.
But in even bigger news for the MMA fan, we see that 249 is cancelled.
Yeah, man. Well, you were always saying, there's things that are beyond Dana's control. He certainly gave it his all, and I think even in his interview with Brett Okamoto, when he announced that the fight was off, he was kind of emphasizing the fact that he could do it if he wanted to. And I think you saw a little bit of the egomaniac in him, just making
Right.
sure that everyone knew that like he had it done and he could do it and he's ready to
Mhm.
go. But this is bigger than Dana and the big boys or whoever's running ESPN and Disney were like, sorry, bud.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be one of the number one or number two guys in those companies for sure that are able to persuade Dana otherwise.
Yeah, for sure.
If it was the Fertitta era, it would have definitely gone ahead.
Yeah, and I mean that's it. Like that was the last remaining sport. As Dana said, the only other guys running shows are the WWE, which is
Yeah. Vince.
athletic, but I mean it's not a sport. Sports
Mhm.
cancelled, and I think Dana was told he had to come to terms with that for the time being.
Yeah. But he says that he's still pushing ahead with the island and he's building the infrastructure. I'm always interested when he says infrastructure, like what does that mean? Is that a little stadium? Is that a makeshift hospital? Is that training facilities? Because he even mentioned as well that he could fly out fighters early and they could come and train, say for example 2 weeks out. So I have no idea like what this infrastructure is. I would love to get more details or hear what he's got to say.
Yeah, he's kind of not giving away too much. He's called it Fight Island, so there's films to be made as well, and stories to be told about like it's reminiscent of kind of Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee's epic film where he goes to this Fight Island run by this like crazy dictator,
Right.
martial arts tournament. So so it's a crazy concept, but we don't know when fights will be held there, if ever, but he's talking about fighters being able to train there. Look, I mean, the WWE is running their shows out of their own performance center with their own sort of
Mhm.
production, and Dana's got his own performance center, but he's maybe looking at something a bit less regulated. But again, he's going to be subject to what Disney says, what ESPN says, what these major partners of his are
Right.
saying, and I think there's probably a big part of their intervention that comes from a PR concern, not wanting to be seen as
100%.
the only people who don't care about COVID-19, the only people who are pushing ahead anyway. Um,
Yeah.
and then you've got to think how it would look for them if there was some sort of spread, even a small spread, that could
Mhm.
be linked back to an event that they were too dafka to cancel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a difficult situation. As you said, it would be a PR nightmare for them. So I think they made the cautious and safe decision.
yeah, cautious and safe and depressing for people who want to see fights, but what can we do?
Yeah, exactly. But now this probably means that Khabib and Tony is back on because, I mean, okay, at least there's a better chance that the next fight is going to be Tony and Khabib because this was just to try and patch the fallout of Khabib with Gaethje.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that's a great point, and let's hope so. Let's hope they say there's no reason not to do it now when things get back together, um,
Right.
post Ramadan. Um, yeah, and Dana did say that all the guys who are going to fight on this card, who sort of stepped up to fight, are going to be paid.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that includes Justin Gaethje. Obviously, it's
Hmm.
got to include Tony and everyone on the undercard. I mean, I hope it includes Rose number Eunice too. The news is that she pulled out because she lost some family members due to COVID-19. So I
I
mean,
saw that.
you really can't be expected to fight in those circumstances. But it's
Yeah.
good that the company's covering the fighters, and I think it should be that way. And yeah, as I say, I hope it applies to Justin Gaethje, and let's hope that Habib Tony happens. You know, that would be a
Yeah.
great way to sort of kick things back off. You know, when we can.
Yeah, for sure. My only worry is that if it is a post-Ramadan fight for Khabib, that's going to leave Tony in the win for several months. I mean, potentially end of July, August, maybe even pushing September if Khabib needs a full 2 months. I mean, Tony's been through a lot of training. Is he going to want to sit out? Maybe he actually will be like, "Give me that Gaethje fight. I'll take it."
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I think Habib said he could fight in August. So, let's say that fights can start happening in June or even July, then it's not such a long wait for Tony. And bearing in mind, I mean, I know Tony is like a fighter at heart and he wants to compete, but bearing in mind that he's going to get a paycheck now, maybe he'll see it as worth it to just hold off until the Habib fight.
Keep
And like
sharpening the
sharpen those
elbows.
elbows for another few months. And he doesn't need that interim belt. He considers himself the champion. He won the interim belt and never lost it.
Yeah.
So I think if I was advising Tony, I would say just hold off, man. And as good as he is, you never know what might happen in a fight with a guy like Justin Gaethje, and then the plan's ruined.
Yeah. No, I watched some more highlights of Gaethje. I think I sent you the video, his knockout highlights. I mean, the power that he has, it's one punch power. And that's what we were saying the other day is that, has Tony faced anyone with that type of power? I mean, those knockouts are brutal. I think it was Mike Vick he knocked out. Just
James,
boom, one punch. James, yeah. Just fell to midair. He's like out.
yeah.
Barboza out midair. I mean, and so
It was really tough to watch. I actually kind of had to look away. In that highlights package of Gaethje was the Cerrone knockout, because the ref does such a poor job, and Gaethje has time to basically put Cerrone out, look at the ref, go, stop the fight, he's out. The ref doesn't. He's got to hit him
standing
again.
there.
And these guys are friends, but even if they weren't, you're looking at Cerrone, he's clean out and he's taking shots, and Gaethje's looking at the ref going, stop the fight. And I actually had to look away, man, because that was brutal. But yeah, he's serious. He's a knockout artist who's developing his sort of broader game, as we said on the last episode. Coming out against Edson Barboza, immediately hitting him with 3 leg kicks before he even looks to punch. So he's refining his game, and yeah, look, I still want to see. And the other the other positive side of this cancellation, you pointed to the fact that Habib and Tony can happen next. Conor and Gaethje can also happen next, and that's a great fight. It's a great fight for Gaethje, and it's a great fight for Conor to re-announce his legitimacy as a fighter.
Right.
The Cerrone win was amazing, but to continue the season, the Gaethje win would be it's different from the Cerrone win. It's really saying I'm still a top contender.
For sure. And what a way for the UFC to open up. Khabib, Tony, and then McGregor and Gaethje. I mean, that's
Rose on
making
draft,
it up to the
and
fans.
yeah, you could have a super card for real.
Yeah. So yeah, as every day's been, it's been pretty wild, up and down, news changing. As soon as we think we've got a fight, nope, no more. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the news. I thought before we end off the podcast, I watched a really great instructional by Marcelo Garcia, escaping like very tight side control. I'm sure you can relate like I can. With a lot of bigger, more skilled guys at the Jits gym, you can really get stuck in side control, and it's a super frustrating position. You keep uppering, you keep bumping, but you can never really make enough space to hip escape. And in this video, just very briefly, he almost uses both his hands together like this, and he puts it either on the shoulder or like kind of the bicep of the guy when he uppers out. And that's what gives that extra space. So I'll link the video below for anyone that wants to check it out. It's definitely worthwhile.
Sweet, Jazz. Yeah, that sounds good. I like watching Marcelo's stuff because not only is he Marcelo, but he's also got, I won't say I've the same body as me, but the same sort of structure where he's
right,
a bit shorter, a bit stocky, and And so, yeah, I can kind of like envision myself doing what he's doing when I watch his matches. And
Yeah, for
as
sure.
you know, I'm always like going for the north-south choke and
Yeah,
trying for it.
exactly. No, Don, you're definitely a far superior athlete than Marcelo is currently at his age.
I think
um,
everyone's losing their athleticism rapidly in the
Man,
house, but we do what we can.
yeah. I did hear a podcast just quickly, it just reminded me about athleticism, is sprints. Like I forgot all about like how effective sprints are. Like if you have like a small driveway or somewhere, if you're still allowed out on the road, just doing like 50-meter, 100-meter sprints, like a 10-minute sprint workout is incredibly effective. So
Yeah, that sounds
give
good.
it a
I'm
try.
actually going to do that because, as you say, in London, we can still go out on the road once a day.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I haven't sprinted since I was playing rugby. I was playing a bit of rugby last year, as you know,
Yeah.
I think, Jazz.
Yeah.
But I haven't sprinted since then. So,
All right, we'll put on those shoes. It's highly effective. I mean, that's why in 10 minutes of doing sprints, you can feel absolutely wrecked, you know, so
yeah,
something different. All right, Don, well, next time, fill me in how the sprints go.
sweet Jazz.
And yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, something weird's going to happen tomorrow and we'll be back on the pod.
No doubt. All right, Don.
Cool, Jazz.
Cheers.